Guys, today we're taking a look at a sneaker that's got more nicknames than I thought was possible. So let's jump into it and find out why. Okay, so here we have the box, a very good representation in what's to expect on the inside. It's just all over cream. You've got the elephant print in a nice light bluish gray color, and then something you do not see very often, but you got both the Nike and Jumpman logos. Either way, let's pop them open and let me show you guys today's sneaker. This is the Jordan 3 Craft Ivory. Here we have them, guys, looking real good in my opinion. It's just a sneaker that I'm super excited about. I don't know, I just feel like a lot of people are gonna kind of be caught off guard by this pair of shoes. Considering it is just gonna be a GR colorway that drops, it doesn't have a ton of hype behind it. But I feel like when people actually get these in hand, they try them out, I think they're really going to like them. Now, 2023 was definitely the year of the Jordan 3. Considering it was the 35th anniversary, Jordan Brand was offloading a ton of banger colorways, and I don't think 2024 is going to be quite as good, but they're definitely starting the year off right with these things. Now let me give you guys some release details on the Jordan 3 Craft Ivory. They are loaded up to the Nike sneakers app, and there's also some raffles out there because they're going to be dropping on February the 3rd, and they're going to retail at $210 for you guys out in the US and £190 here in the UK. So the Jordan Craft series, if you didn't know, is actually a thing that extends beyond this pair of shoes. They've done a Jordan 4, couple colorways, and they've done some different Jordan 1s. So what does a Jordan Craft actually mean? Well, based off of the most recent ones that they've done, I don't even think Jordan Brand knows exactly. So with the Jordan 4s, it was supposed to be a premium material change-up. So they took off most of the things that you would typically find with a pair of Jordan 4s, like the plastic netting, even the plastic flaps on both sides that extend towards the lace eyelets, and they replaced it with hairy suedes and leathers and cracked leather, and also added a very random square patch of suede around the ankle area. And then with the Jordan 1 highs, it was basically just a change up to the ankle area and the Nike swoosh. For the Jordan 1 mids, it was the concept of basically flipping the sneaker inside out, so all of the upper looked like an inside out shoe. So honestly, the only thing that I can say is kind of stayed consistent from different pair to different pair is materials changing. But I will say with these threes, it definitely seems like not only the most tasteful changes, but the changes do also just make sense. So firstly, and what I think is the most noticeable, is all of the layered paneling that you find around the toe box and towards the back of the shoe. So specifically around the toe box, it almost looks like you have 3 layers of different materials, starting with regular leather, and then you've got some nice soft feeling suede, and then the elephant print right at the front. And this is not just a visual change to the shoe, it actually changes the shape a little bit. It seems taller and somewhat beefier. And I honestly think that some people will prefer the regular shape of a Jordan 3, but I actually think I prefer the look of this, or at the very least, it's a nice change up. They also changed up the elephant print, not only in color, it's kind of like an albino version, just a very, very light gray instead of the darker regular elephant print. Now, one of the nicest things about this pair of shoes is it does have pretty decent leather. The all over white material that you see on the upper feels nice and soft, and I don't think you're going to be disappointed in it whatsoever. Honestly, I think you're going to be pretty happy with the overall quality on this pair of sneakers. The next big change up for this pair of threes is up around the lace eyelets. They're now aged, but just underneath that you have a little added piece of soft suede material. It kind of overlaps the lace eyelets a little bit, almost as if to hide some of it, and it's not stitched down, so you can literally just move it apart with your fingers, and it's just a little bit random, but at the same time I kind of like it. Without the extra stitching, it does give it quite a minimal and clean look overall, especially because it also comes in a light gray color to match the rest of the accents. And this is actually where the first nickname for this pair of shoes comes from, the poor man a ma man yours, which, I mean, honestly, if you're going to compare this pair of shoes to a ma man yours, one of my favorite Jordan 3s of almost all time, then I'm pretty happy with that. I mean, I could show you guys the ma man yours with these things side by side, and you can make your own mind up. I don't know, do you think these look the same? Do they look similar? I will say there are some similarities for sure, especially with the addition of the suede that matches up quite a lot, and generally speaking, a lot of the age details are also somewhat similar. Again, this is down for you to decide. You let me know what you think down in the comments. Now, the next big change up on these is the double Jumpman that you find on the tongue. So one of them is embroidered in a very nice light blue, almost metallic looking color, and that's just pretty standard for a pair of threes. But then just behind that, almost acting as a shadow, is a painted on taupe color Jumpman logo. And I will say, yes, that is a little bit random, but again, double branding is kind of the thing with this pair of shoes, because around the back you have both the Jumpman and the Nike branding, which is actually something we've seen before on the Denim Fire Red Jordan 3s. That was from back in 2020, and it had a similar idea. However, this one takes on an aged approach, and honestly, I actually like it. In fact, I think I prefer this over just a regular Jumpman logo on the back. Now, I could be alone in that, but I just like kind of seeing the fact that we have the Nike Air branding underneath. It's a cool look, and it also adds a little bit of a change up for this pair of shoes. Now, this yellowed out or aged back tab does fit in with the rest of the theme. Of course, you've got the eyelets, but around the underneath, of course, the entire outsole is that same kind of vintaged out aged look. It is also semi-translucent, so it's quite a pleasant look. It's not too strong and in your face. And then when you bring it back to the sock liner, it is a very nice light gray or almost a very light bluish hue to it, which I think is pretty much perfect. That's exactly what I would want them to add. You can see some of that sock liner just peeking through when you're wearing these things, and I think it's a perfect summer look. It just overall adds to this complete package. All of the colors are nice and cohesive. It gives it a fresh and clean look, which I think the colors on here leads to the second nickname that a lot of people have been calling this pair of shoes, is if Off-White did a collaboration on a Jordan 3. And okay, look, I mean, yeah, I kind of can see where those people are coming from, but at the same time, I just feel like some people are trying to hype this pair of shoes up, which I don't think is necessary. It's a very nice colorway, and it's something that you could literally wear on a daily basis if you wanted to. It's going to be an easy sneaker to throw on and match with a bunch of outfits, and I think that people are just going to really like this pair of shoes. Now, as far as hype goes, it's kind of hard to say, because some threes I've seen I kind of thought would sell out haven't, but other threes that I thought would sit flew off shelves, like the Off Noirs. That's a great example because it's a colorway that I really wanted, and when they did release, I was chilling. I was like, you know what, I could just wait till the next day and I'll just pick them up after the fact, and guess what? They completely sold out and I could not get my size. So moral of the story, I think if you are after a new pair of threes, if you really like this colorway, I would just go out and grab them. I'm not entirely sure how limited these things are going to be, but from what I can tell, people looking at the images and from what a lot of you guys have said, you do like this colorway, and so generally speaking, I would just probably opt towards chucking your name in the hat. Now, as for sizing, a funny thing is I actually thought that this toe box would change the sizing quite a bit, because even side by side with a regular Jordan 3, it is a little bit taller, so you'd imagine you'd have more room, but wearing it side by side with another pair of threes, I really tried to see if that was the case and it really had a practical effect, but I didn't really feel a massive difference. I still recommend going with your usual size that you would normally wear a pair of Jordan 3s, and for me personally, that is true to size. So yeah, overall, this is one of my favorite Jordans to release in a while. I tried these things on with a pair of shorts and I was looking at myself in the mirror and I actually got a little bit excited. I was like, man, these things are gonna go so hard in the summertime. But I want to know what you guys think of the Jordan 3 Craft Ivory. Chuck your thoughts down in the comments.